So when we in Buddhism say that everything is inherently empty, what we're pointing to is that whatever you perceive any situation to be in a certain way, that is something you just added to it. Because in and of its own, it is empty. Now, when I say that, a lot of people usually get concerned or feel that, well, what's the point? And I talked a bit about that because that is an absolutely natural reaction to it. Because we tend to feel that everything has a lot of meaning and there's a lot of meaning with everything, but that is just the brain being a meaning-making machine. I made a video where I was comparing nihilism and the Buddhist non-duality, and I can warmly recommend you to watch that. But what we're pointing to is that in and of its own, there is no meaning to anything. You just did that. So if somebody comes to you and say that you are a purple leprechaun, let's say, you wouldn't feel anything in your body with it. You might laugh of it, or you might, not see the importance of that and go like, okay, and that would be it. Or if somebody spoke to you in a language where which you don't speak and say something to you, you wouldn't be angry or concerned. You might be a bit confused because you don't know what is being said, but you wouldn't take anything personal. And those two examples are really good of reminding you of the empty nature of everything. So if somebody comes to you and say something that makes you really sad, that what happened in that moment is not something that the other person did to you. The situation in and of its own is empty of any meaning. You just created a meaning with it. And what we are trying really to emphasize is that we don't want you to bypass. We don't want you to go like, well, that doesn't matter. People can treat me like dirt. I don't really care because everything is inherently empty. That is spiritual bypassing. And we don't want you to go there because that is not the point. Then you again just created something out of nothing. What we would like for you to do is to notice how your body is reacting in any situation that you're in. Because in that, you have a really good insight into what it is that needs your compassion, what needs your unconditional acceptance. Not because what is happening in your body is truth in any way, but the contraction that you feel in your body, the rise of anger that is happening, the feeling of sadness regarding what the other person says, is kind of like indications to you of where you are in this situation. Not that there's any meaning in the situation itself, but where you are in it. And we all carry around stories in our bodies of how we have perceived reality at different points in our lives. And that is the part that needs the compassion. Again, not because the story is true or real or important, but because it is an indication to you that there's something in this area that needs your compassion and kindness. So let's say somebody says something to you and you feel angry. You might feel that they're not right in what they're saying. You might feel that it's unfair. You might feel that this has nothing to do with me. How dare you? You might feel something like that. In that situation, we would like for you to slow down and zoom in and notice what is actually happening. Because when you get angry at something other people say to you, and you have a reaction to that, you are projecting back to them what just arose in you. So somebody says something to you, you feel angry about it. That feeling that is happening is the one that we would like for you to slow down and zoom in about. Because a feeling is not real either. A feeling is, in and of its own, empty. So let's pick apart how a feeling happens. There's a contraction in the body. Somebody says something, you have a contraction in your body. That contraction can be so icky that we are diverting away from how it feels to be in a body that is experiencing this icky sensation right now. And we can divert in different ways. This is again back to early childhood, where you had to leave your body, or you had to leave your sense of self, or you had to leave your gut feeling of what was right or what was wrong, simply to survive in the family that you were raised. And again, I'm not pointing fingers at your family, because that situation too was empty of any inherent existence. So basically, today you are a walking mirror of all the perceptions that you have had in your entire life. All the projections you have made about other people and about yourself is what you are experiencing today. So when somebody says something and you get angry about it, that situation is predictable. Whatever they say is not what is activating the feeling of anger in you. Is what you think they say, what you think they mean, what you think is their intention behind their words. That is what you're reacting to. Because whatever they say is a projection of what is going on in their lives. It's got nothing to do with you. And that distance to the situation is actually where, if you really start to notice that, is where there's a lot of freedom. Because when you realize that you don't have to defend anything, whatever other people say to you, you don't have to defend yourself against that. They're not talking about you anyway. They're talking about themselves. They're talking about their trauma, about their experience, about their bubble of reality. They're not talking about you. You don't have to defend yourself against that in any way. What is being said is, in and of its own, empty of any inherent existence. And so is your experience. So your experience in that moment can be used to become aware of which areas of your perception needs your unconditional acceptance to what is arising. It might be that you have an instant feeling of, I need to defend myself, otherwise they're just going to walk all over me. That is interesting. How would that even be possible? Think about it. How would that even be possible? You just created something out of nothing in this situation. And it doesn't mean that you should stay in toxic relationships or be with people that don't benefit you in any way. It's not what I'm saying at all. That decision that you need to walk away from a toxic relationship, or you need to walk away from a situation that is not good for you, needs to be made from that open space where in the situation you can feel this is not benefiting me and it's not benefiting you either, so I'm walking away. And then you preserve yourself by doing that. But you cannot walk away if there are any hard feelings, because that means that there are still unresolved issues that needs to be addressed. Again, we're back to the old trauma of your previous experiences. So if you can remind yourself that no matter what situation you're in, this situation right now is inherently empty. The feeling I have in me about what it means when they say like they do, or that I need to defend myself, or anything like that, or the other way, that I'm a bad person, that is an add-on afterwards. The situation is arising that is inherently empty. This situation that is arising could be a sunset, or it could be a puppy sneezing, or it could be anything else. That situation in and of its own is empty. You just added a lot to it. With the comparisons that I just gave you with a sunset or sunrise and a puppy sneezing, you get an insight to how the world looks from this side. Again, how you heard that is not saying anything about me. It's only saying something about you. And keep coming back to that experience on the inside, because that is where the compassion is needed. That is where the unconditional acceptance is needed to the situation, to you, to the other person, to whatever is arising in this moment. It's okay. It's okay. there's something that needs your compassion and your kindness, and that is what is arising in the moment. And you can meet that with compassion and kindness. And if you have that feeling of negativity or pointlessness, and it doesn't really matter, and there's no meaning to anything, just notice that you just created a lot of negative out of nothing. The same if it gives you a feeling of happiness and giddiness and joyfulness and all of that. Again, you just created a lot of something out of nothing. In and of its own, it's empty. It's neutral. There's nothing positive or negative in any situation. That is an arising that is happening in you. And if that arising is giving you a feeling of calm and contentment, that's amazing. Stay there. If whatever another person is saying and you feel compassion and kindness towards them, that's amazing. Stay there. If you, however, feel anger towards the other person, or you feel resentment towards the other person, it's not in the relationship between you and the other person that you should look. It's not in the other person's actions that you should look. You need to look here, because you just judged them. You just projected something from your past. The brain cannot create or see anything that you haven't experienced yourself previously. It's like a language. You cannot understand a language you've never heard before. It's the same with the brain. The brain cannot understand a situation any different than what you previously have experienced. So what are you from your past projecting onto this situation right now? So you need to pull yourself up to the 5th floor, where there's no emotional bonds into things having to be in a certain way, but you and the situation and the other person is completely set free to be as they are in this moment. And just keep reminding yourself, this moment right now is empty of any inherent existence. Whatever I feel in my body right now, it's okay. It's okay to feel as I feel, because it's just a call to you of noticing something that you were not aware of that needs your unconditional acceptance and compassion. What part of you right now is constricted and contracted? Breathe into that. You don't need to understand it with your conscious mind, because like I've said so many times, it's only 5% of your personality that is conscious. The 95% is moving under the surface. It's in your subconscious, and you're not even aware of what is happening. And you cannot pull it into your conscious mind. So when something is happening and you feel a contraction in your body, you cannot understand it with your conscious mind what is happening, and you don't have to. You just breathe into it. If there's a constriction in your belly and you feel slightly nauseated, it's okay, breathe into that. Deep breaths into your body. Allow this to be as it is in your body, and just breathe into it. Let it expand, let it become bigger, and then notice how it will soften. Remember that being nauseated or feeling pain or anything like that is not a negative thing. Again, it is empty of any inherent existence. And when you feel that it shouldn't feel like that, it shouldn't be like this, this should feel different, you're in a comparison. You're not here. You're creating something out of nothing in this moment, making something into something that it shouldn't be like this. That is a comparison with something else, which means you're not here. You are lost in your mind into a thought scenario of how you think things could be instead of how they actually are. Come back to now. Breathe deeply. Notice how it feels to be in your body right now. And if it feels icky, can you be okay with a body that feels icky? Can you be okay with having that nauseated feeling, or that contraction in your belly, or that constriction in your throat? Can you breathe into that and be okay with that? Calm yourself down. It's okay. This situation right now is as it is, and it cannot be any different. It just is as it is, and that's okay. So reminding yourself all the time about that this situation is inherently empty is really, really helpful and really, really useful. And if you feel it's a negative thing, notice that you just created something out of nothing. If you feel it's a positive thing, notice again, you just created something out of nothing. It is neutral. Emptiness is neutral. There is not a positive or negative thing about it. So whatever you feel this situation is, you just did that. That was part of your perception. That is part of your story, part of your projections, part of you that you just added onto it. That needs to be experienced in your body with breathing into it and expressed in your body. You don't need to have a conscious understanding of it, just experience in your body how that feels. I hope that was helpful. If you would like for me to expand further, kindly write comments in the comment section. I would love to talk more about it. I just need to know which direction you would like for me to take it, and then we can talk about it. Thank you. We have created a course of our first Fetter material. This course will walk you step by step through all of the ways in which identification is created and selfing happens. If you've been struggling to see through the self-structure or have that first awakening shift, this course contains hundreds of tools to help you discover the selfing mechanisms when they're happening, and then see through the illusion of identification that are created. Along with over 14 hours of videos, this $49 course contains a full book worth of summaries, extrapolations on the videos, written inquiry suggestions, and other text. So work slowly, leave time for integration. This is powerful material and it can be life-changing.